Hi, I'm Gary Hull Sr. from the Race Club, and I am very pleased, honored today to have Penny Palfrey here with me. Penny just set a world record for the longest open water swim in history. 68 miles, is that right?
That's right.
68 miles across the sea from Little Cayman to, she actually bridged the 3 Cayman Islands, the last bridge being 68 miles. It took you over 40 hours to complete that. But I want you to start with, when did this whole dream of swimming this start, and then take us through the race a little bit, what it was like to go through. There were some pretty tense moments.
Okay. Well, I'd had 2 previous attempts at similar distance in Hawaii, which were halted through a lot of Portuguese man-of-war stings. So unfortunately I was taken from the water then. It was after the second attempt when Steve Monatones joined me for that swim. He came over here to Grand Cayman Island for the Pirates Week and was talking to Mr. Frank Flowers, and they come up with the idea that somebody could come and bridge the Cayman Islands here, and Mr. Flowers asked who should do it, and Mr. Monatones said, well, I think Penny Palfrey is the person that could do it. So they invited me, asked me if I was interested, and I was very excited, and thousands of emails later we arrived in Grand Cayman Islands, and first of all we did the back to Little Cayman Islands swim, and then a few days later we went over to Little Cayman. There was a big low just south of here, so the weather was not very good, and we had to wait a couple of days for that, and then set off on Saturday morning at just before 5:30 a.m. in the dark, and swim through pretty difficult conditions. We had reasonable currents for the first probably 40k, and but it was pretty choppy from the weather system that we'd had recently. And then pretty much against the head current for the next 60 kilometres back, all the way back, and we were moving at 1 kilometre every half an hour. Each time I got a feed, how far, and we were figuring it out, and very slow going, just really difficult conditions. And so we swam through sunrise, a full day, sunset, a full night, sunrise, a full day, and then finally we were hoping to be in, but no, sunset, and then at 10 something at night I finished after 40 hours and 41 minutes arriving at Grand Cayman Islands.
Unbelievable. And you encountered more than just some currents. I understand there were a few sharks out there.
Yeah, there were some oceanic reef sharks that sort of tracked me for a while, and a few Portuguese man-of-war stings and jellyfish. It was quite a busy swim out there.
I also understood that you got about 6 miles from shore, and there were some unusually strong currents where you almost were staying in place for that time. What was that? What was going through your mind at that time after, I don't know how many hours of swimming across, and then to encounter that? Were you really not even moving hardly?
Yeah, it really was difficult. I had to ask the crew what was happening with the currents. I needed to know it wasn't me that was just not making any progress. So they gave me information that it was the currents, it was head currents. So I kind of figured that eventually the tide would turn and hopefully it would improve, and it didn't really. I seemed to have, ahead of me the current was assisting if I was there, but by the time I got there the tide had changed, and so I even swam against the tide where we were hoping to get assistance, or I should say the current where we were hoping to get assistance. So it was really, really hard work getting right in, and I mean after 35 hours or 40, close to 40 hours of swimming at that stage, it was really tough going, and I was really pretty much swimming on the spot. And so what I did was I had to do some maintenance swimming. I'd swim within myself for a while, and then I'd go really hard for about 15 minutes, and then I had to, because you can't keep swimming that hard all the time, I'd do 15 minutes or so of maintenance swimming and then really hard for about 15 minutes. And that was the way I broke through the current and gradually made some progress. Eventually I could see the bottom, which was really good, because I could see the lights on the shore, but they just didn't seem to be getting any closer, and that could really break your heart. But I could see the bottom, and I could see gradually the shapes were going underneath me, albeit slowly, they were moving. So as long as those shapes were moving that way, then I knew I was making progress, and just to keep digging deep until I made it in.
At the end of a race, her tongue was so swollen up that she couldn't take nutrients anymore, and it was a pretty cute story, I think, but she had a craving for which my wife did during her pregnancy, was ice cream. And so they actually brought out a gallon or 2 gallons of ice cream, and she put that in her mouth toward the end, and it melted in her mouth, and she was able to get some sugar from the ice cream.
Yeah, it was just I needed an ice pack really, and an ice cream was the only thing I could think of that was cold and soft, because they gave me ice and it was like putting rocks into a swollen mouth. It was painful. So they'd bring me ice cream. So they actually radioed to shore, had somebody drive a 5-gallon tub of ice cream to shore. They sent a dive boat in to collect it. Dive boat back out to me 12 miles from shore, into the ducky, into my ducky, and we had this big 5-gallon tub of chocolate ice cream there. The guys are trying to give it to me on a spoon. I said, no, put it in a cup, pass me the cup. So I got this cup, and it was the best thing. My mouth was just so painful, but it was really nice to get cooled it down. Helped me to finish.
She has willpower beyond what I can imagine to make that, and tremendous courage. And she makes all of the swimmers, including me, look like wimps. So, Penny, we're proud of you. Great job. And I know one of your colleagues, one of your friends, and one of my friends is going to try to beat that record this summer, Diana Nyad. I don't know whether she'll make it or not, but I know that would be a courageous swim as well.
Yeah, I will be watching.
Yeah.
Good luck to her.
Thank you, and thank you, Penny.
Thank
You're the
you.
best.